Yes.
Yep.
Okay, we're good. All righty. Well, thanks again for joining me today, because I know you guys are super busy people. So I really appreciate you taking the time out to join me. I'm sure between work and the boys and everything you've got going on, you've got pretty busy schedules. Well, I'll introduce you all. So today we have Olga and Michael Booth, and they are the parents of two of our Wilmington Bilingual Preschool students. One's a former student, but he'll be coming back for summer camp. So I don't want to label him a former student yet. Philippe, and then also we have Clay, who's in our young pre-K classroom for the 2 to 3-year-olds. So the first experience we had with you guys was we met Philippe. He joined us. How old was he when he joined us? I want to say he was 2 or 3.
I think it might have been 2.5, maybe almost 3.
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah, I remember when he came, and he's a fascinating kid. I really miss him. He's such an interesting child. We quickly identified him as gifted. I mean, I think it's pretty fair to say that he is linguistically and mathematically advanced. And we noticed that right away when he joined us. Even when he was 2 years old, I remember he was really, really good at math. He could do lots of math equations in his head. And he also came to us, he was already bilingual. Is that correct? When he joined our
Yeah.
school? So do you want to tell us a little bit about the languages that he already spoke when he joined us?
So his first language was actually Russian. I'm originally from Russia, and my parents helped us raise him, well, both boys now. So I spoke primarily Russian to him, and my parents only spoke Russian at the time. So his first language was Russian. And I remember at the pediatric appointment at 12 months, he was saying 16 words, where like their, I guess, average was, I don't know, 4 or 6. And then at the 18 months, he was already speaking in sentences in Russian.
Wow. And when did he start speaking English? So I know he started out with Russian. Did you just do strictly Russian, or is there some English as well?
No, I was English. So he was exposed mostly to Russian speakers, but he got his English from me at home because my Russian's mediocre at best.
Okay.
So we spoke a lot of English, and he picked it up slowly. And it was kind of, for me, it was a little disappointing. I was like, okay, he can talk to everybody but me.
Oh.
But once he started speaking English, he picked it up super, super fast.
And now his Russian, his English definitely, I think, exceeds his Russian, because he mainly reads in English.
Okay. But he still communicates in Russian. He can communicate with you and your parents pretty well.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. He switches back and forth from language to language without any issues. And if he knows that the person only speaks Russian or only speaks Spanish, he would immediately just speak to them in the language that he knows that the person speaks.
Mm-hmm. And that's good to know. That's really encouraging or reassuring, because we have lots of parents who maybe one parent speaks Spanish and the other speaks English, and they want their child to be bilingual, but they're worried. They're worried that maybe their English will suffer. But you're saying that's not the case at all. Philippe's English does not suffer.
Yeah, we attended your parents' night, I guess, right after he'd started, and you guys brought the literature out and talked about how, I guess, the full Spanish immersion kids meet and surpass their peers in English relatively quickly. And we found that to absolutely be the case. He hasn't had a drop off in his Russian or his Spanish, really, but he started first grade in an English school, hardly reading a word of English, and now he's probably on a 3rd grade level 6 months in. It's been pretty impressive that he's just taken the reading and just flown with it, and his English is very good.
Wow.
And we skipped kindergarten because there was no space in the kindergarten class, and he went straight to 1st grade after doing Spanish program with you guys. And when he first started, he could barely read, but now it's pretty amazing. I mean, he reads probably as good as I do in English.
And he's pretty proud, because I think the last I spoke to him, he was telling me he was going to skip 1st grade and go to 2nd grade. Is that correct? Is he still planning on doing that, or is that?
Well, he's in 1st grade now, so we'll see.
Okay. Yeah. So he skipped kindergarten and went to 1st grade then. So maybe he'll go to 2nd grade next year.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But age-wise, if he was in a public school, he would have been in kindergarten now.
Mm-hmm. And that's good that they recognized that and went ahead and challenged him. Well, so why did you initially choose to enroll him at our Spanish language school? How did you find out about us, and why did you send him?
So initially my parents saw, I think, a Facebook ad, and you were offering a trial class. And I think my mother took him and she said that the program is so well designed that you're teaching through songs and activities, and you're not teaching him Spanish, you are teaching in Spanish. And that's a big difference, because, you know, if you're teaching book, libro, I think it's not fun for the kids, but when they are in the language environment, that's how they learn the best. And my undergraduate was in linguistics, so I love languages. And I truly can attest to the, you know, the ability of young children to learn the language simultaneously, multiple languages, without any difficulty.
That's good. Yeah. And again, like I said, that's reassuring, because parents do worry about that. They worry that their child may be confused, or that it may slow their progress in their initial language if they add on a second language. But it's not the case, as you stated. There's lots of research out there that shows that it doesn't work that way. Well, let's see. Did he have a good experience at our school? How was it for Felipe at our school?
He loved it.
He loved it. He loved the teachers. I think what differentiates you from, I guess, any other daycare program is that the teachers that we encountered, they really wanted to be there, and it's their passion to teach young children, and they really know what they're doing, and they're kind. And I think you stay on top of management and supervision and individual attention and knowing the children and their peculiarities. And I think that you're doing a phenomenal job.
And I've found several of you, especially, and your other teachers have made a point to keep in contact with him. So he still feels like he's part of the school, even though he's not there anymore. So
yeah, Maestra Diana, that was his first teacher. She still, you know, if I post a picture of him on Facebook, she'll comment. And we had even had a call with her, I don't know, several months ago, just to keep in touch.
Wow. Oh, that's fabulous. Well, and just thinking about his progress, and I'm trying to think back because time goes so fast, but I remember when he came to our school, he learned Spanish really quickly. I think maybe 6 months in, he was already speaking Spanish pretty fluently. His comprehension was definitely there. And I think you guys, I remember you mentioned a trip to Mexico that you took. I guess that was just kind of the test. I think you guys were in Mexico for a month. Do you want to tell us a little bit about how that went for him, being in the Spanish language environment, completely in Spanish?
well, I got there a week after I think they went for 2 weeks, but I got there a week late, and everybody at the resort on the staff already knew who he was, and they recognized me as Papa de Felipe as soon as I got there. And they were always asking where he was. And he talked to them. He ordered tequila for his grandfather. He negotiated jet ski rides for a discounted price for him and his mom. It was pretty amazing. He just fit right in like he was part of the culture.
Yeah, so he was a superstar at the resort and in the kids club. And there were a lot of people from Argentina. So everybody would start speaking Spanish to me, thinking that we might be from Argentina. I'm like, no, habla español. And they were like, how come he speaks? And they would immediately assume that maybe my husband was a Spanish speaker. And I said, no, escuela. Uh-huh. And then also we had a couple that was from Colombia, and they said that he has a beautiful Colombian accent. And I guess that came from Maestra Diana. So he picked up the accent as well. And I love that you have different teachers from different countries, from Mexico and from Spain, and he is very good at picking up accents. And I think Philip he's just a talented kid linguistically, because with Clay, I don't think we see that much of him speaking in Spanish, but he definitely understands. Mm-hmm. And he'll try to use a few phrases, but not as much as Philip did. But we'll have to, test him out and take him to Mexico and see if he can manage being, around everybody that only speaks Spanish.
That's right. Maybe kind of help activate it, because sometimes being in a full language immersion environment like that, it does activate it. So I definitely encourage families to take their kids on vacation if they're able to other countries, and just to immerse them as much as possible. And that was going to be one of my questions too, about what's the experience been like with Clay. First of all, teaching him both Russian and English, how is that going? Is he pretty fluent in both languages?
So until probably 16 months, he only spoke Russian. And then my parents left for a month. And then in 2 weeks, he was, I was speaking more English at home. He switched to English completely, and then he wouldn't speak Russian for a while. And then he'd spend a weekend with my parents, and then he'll speak Russian more.
His Russian is still far superior to his English.
Okay, wow.
And Spanish-wise, I know that he understands a lot, but he just doesn't speak it at home that much.
If I try to use the Spanish I know with him, he'll answer in Spanish with sí or no. But so he definitely understands, but he doesn't make sentences or make an effort to speak as much as Philip did.
Yeah, and we started with you guys right at 18 months, so we started earlier with him, and he's been going year round. So I'm assuming that by age 4 he'll probably be on the same level as Philip. And now that Philip is in American school, we are trying to keep Spanish alive by using Spanish tutors or some type of Spanish environment, but it's definitely not enough. Once a week is not enough. It's not going to increase his knowledge. It barely keeps it alive. So we are really looking forward to the summer camps with you so that he can really be immersed into the program.
And it's important, one point that I always make to parents too, is that the language can always be reactivated. So kind of like you mentioned with Clay, once they have that base, it's there. And so it's great to go ahead and get them that base and immerse them in the language as much as possible, because it can be reactivated later. But you're right, it does go away pretty quickly when you remove the second language environment. And I think with Clay too, one thing is that he has Philippe's influence. And so with Philippe being in an English language school, probably that's going to impact Clay's. He'll probably be speaking more English with Philippe because he has his older brother there and he's going to want to play.
And they do speak English together when they play. Mostly.
Yeah, I've caught him speaking Russian a few times, but mostly English.
Okay, yeah, the pull of that language from your current environment is really, really powerful. So I do tell parents that if anything you want to, like you were mentioning, Olga, emphasize the second and third language even more, because some parents, even our Spanish speaking parents, make that mistake of they say, well, no, I want my child to go to English language school because I want them to speak English and have a good accent. And I tell them it's actually the opposite. If you want them to maintain that their native language of Spanish, if they're in an English language environment, you need to do as much as possible, because that English is always going to be present there, pulling as a force.
Yeah, and we chose Spanish, and none of us can really have a decent conversation in Spanish. We can order a beer and ask "Dónde están las bañas?" but that's about it. I know a lot of words from the songs, the Cinco Pingüinos and Una vez un barco chiquito and all of those songs, because with Philip, I was really dedicated to listening to them in the car. Okay. And also singing with him. With Clay, I don't really do that much. But I think that's a fabulous way to learn the languages through music and through games.
Yeah.
And Clay loves to sing. He still sings Jingle Bells.
Oh, in Spanish. Yeah, music is a wonderful way to learn a second language, and it sticks. You'll remember a song that you learned 20 years ago, so it's pretty incredible. Well, I guess my last question is, actually I have two questions. How was Philippe's transition from our Spanish language preschool, and then he also did our kindergarten? So how was his transition from us to English language school? Was it pretty flawless?
Yeah, like we said, it was probably better than flawless. He went in reading a little bit of Russian, reading a little bit of Spanish, and immediately picked up reading in English, math in English. The math background's the same regardless, but I think he's ahead of where he ought to be. Reading, math, everything. So it's been pretty impressive.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't think there's been any slowdown because he started off in Spanish. I think it's been the opposite.
And we love that he loves to learn and that he loves going to school. And and now he, we don't have to beg him to do the homework. He'll just do it. And reading, it was a point from the very beginning that we do 20 minutes of reading every single day, like regardless what's happening, but reading would be happening, if we were sick or we're traveling. So we took him to a ski resort. On the plane ride back, there was no internet on the plane, and it was a 3-hour flight from Denver to DC. He read for the entire time. He read 67 pages in that day with like barely any pictures.
Wow.
So that's pretty incredible.
I think most parents would have been pulling their hair out in that situation. That's impressive. And I guess I know that you mentioned too that your father used to do math activities with Philippe when he was a little boy. I don't know if you have any tips for other parents who are wanting to, help their children mathematically, or do you think it was just kind of natural thing for Philippe too? Because you guys are both intelligent people. I know Michael's a surgeon and Olga, you're an administrator at a university. So you guys are smart people. Do you think it was the things that you did with Philippe? Do you think it was the foreign language? Do you think it was your father, or just a combination of everything?
I don't know if it's just innate with him, but I like to watch basketball, and he immediately picks up on scores and numbers and how many points somebody's beating another team by. He would get up in the morning and go straight to the Amazon Alexa and ask all the scores, and he would just get the score, and he'd come to me, "Daddy, they won by 21 points." And he's doing the math in his head, even from, a year and a half, 2 years ago. So he's been ahead in numbers from day one, and I don't know exactly where he gets it. It must be a combination of all and partly him, but he's more fascinated with the scores than the actual game itself, but he wants to watch games just for the sake of, it seems like, for the numbers. So
it must have been the prenatal vitamins. I don't know.
Yeah, people, we want to know, Olga, how can we recreate this? A future mathematician, maybe.
I mean, he can multiply 12 by 12, like, faster than me, or like, calculate if I say 57 minus 35, and he can calculate it faster than I can, in my head. I need pen and paper to solve it. Or he would do, if I would say x plus 5 equals 10, what's an x? Or I would say, x multiplied by 3 equals 9, what's the x? And he knows it. He doesn't have to think for a second. He knows the answer immediately.
Mm-hmm. He has a good understanding. So I guess my final question just would be, overall, do you feel like at our school, did our school prepare him for where he is now? And do you feel like we met the challenge of challenging him? Do you feel like he was challenged? Did he feel comfortable in our environment?
Very much.
Yeah, very much so.
I'd do it all over again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And, we live pretty far away, 30 minutes for a preschool for 4 hours. That's a commitment on the side of parents.
It is.
So I wish you were closer, but we're still doing it with Clay, because we feel like if we gave this wonderful beginning to one child, we should do it for the second one. Since, with Philip, I've done a lot. I've done baby yoga, I've done gymnastics, I've done anything you can sign up, a 6-month-old going up. I've done it with Philip. With Clay, we just do it now. So, and he kind of rolls with Philip's schedule.
Well, I can attest that Clay's a really smart kid too, and he's definitely excelling at our school. So you're doing a great job. You're doing a great job with both of them. The second child, I don't know. There's always that second child guilt too. Anyways.
A funny story. I was driving them to school, and I dropped Philip off, and then I was on the phone with my mother telling that how much he read on the plane and how much he loves to learn. And she said, "Oh, I love that he loves to learn." And then 5 minutes later, almost all the way to school, Clay was quiet, and then he says, "Mama, I love to learn. And at Spanish school, we don't watch TV, we learn, and I love to learn." So he picked up that was a good thing to learn, and that watching TV is not a good thing. And he just, unprompted, just said it. So, I mean, he is pretty intellectual, I think, too.
He is. And what you'll find, I think, with the second child is that he'll always be trying to catch up to Philippe, and he's going to want to be like Philippe. So it's excellent that Philippe's been such an amazing example to Clay, because Clay will want to be like him.
Well, we're very grateful for what you do. Such a great school, great teachers, and you being so involved and staying on top of things and knowing children in person and the parents. You're a phenomenal woman. I think I told you on the phone, privately, that you should be Women That Made History. at least in Wilmington, I think you should be on that magazine cover.
Oh, well, thank you so much. We appreciate you guys' support, and we appreciate you doing the drive that you do to have your boys attend our school. And we're just really thankful that we cross paths.
Well, thank you very much. And I hope you keep doing it and have, summer camps for all the kids so we can continue being part of this program.
Yeah, absolutely. No, we love it. So we'll definitely keep it going as long as we've got great families supporting us. Okay, well, you guys have a good day. Thanks again for joining me.
Thank you very
Okay,
much.
thank you.
Okay, adios.